Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. Tyson Fury is set to return to the ring in June according to reports. So BoxingScene.com, see here on screen, it has some sources reporting that Tyson Fury is set to return June 15 at Thomas and Mack Center on ESPN+. So the article says that Boxing Scene has learned that Tyson Fury will return to the ring on June 15, making his first career appearance in Las Vegas atop a card to be staged at the Thomas and Mack Center. An opponent has yet to be solidified for the event, which will stream live on ESPN+ in the first fight under the Unbeaten Brits' new co-promotional pact with Top Rank and ESPN. And if you go through the rest of the story, well, it's mostly context about Fury, his recent career, what's happening with Deontay Wilder, other bits and pieces. It doesn't really sort of say much else. So the guts of it is June 15 is the date he is set to return, and it will be in Las Vegas. And down here it does note, one heavyweight who joined the family and was considered a front-runner to land the plum assignment was Canada's Oscar Rivas. So when they say joined the family, they're talking about, being on board with Top Rank here. And see, that's the thing. Oscar Rivas is not a Top Rank fighter. He is not. There is no announcement that has been made, no press releases, no nothing that confirms Oscar Rivas is actually a Top Rank fighter. But what the situation may in fact be is that Top Rank may have some promotional control of Oscar Rivas for his next fight. Because with Bryant Jennings, when he fought Oscar Rivas, there was potentially going to be a rematch. Bryant Jennings could have called that, but ultimately he didn't. He had about a week or so to say, yeah, I'll take the rematch. But from what I can sort of understand of the situation and some of the reporting at the time, it was a little bit cloudy. It was never really sort of clarified that they may have some rights over his next fight. But I can tell you, on their Top Rank website, he is not listed as a Top Rank fighter. Also, on the PBC website, he is still listed as being part of Premier Boxing Champions. He's advised by Al Heyman. He's part of the PBC stable. So I can only sort of deduce from that, there must be still some rights hanging over from that Bryant Jennings situation where Top Rank have an option on his next fight. So anyway, if he is the guy that they are looking to potentially line up for Tyson Fury, well, I don't actually mind that fight so much. I think for Fury, this is, a guy who's basically, 6 foot and half an inch to Fury's listed 6'9", even though he's probably more, 6'8". I don't believe he's legitimately 6'9". That would be a massive height and reach advantage that he would have in there. And the reach front, it's basically about 9 or 10 inches, and obviously about 8 inches or so on the height front. So Tyson Fury, with his style, he could actually cause Oscar Rivas some problems, because in spots in that fight where Bryant Jennings was sort of dancing around the ring a little bit, Oscar Rivas, was finding it hard to really sort of cut off the ring and actually find Jennings and get his work away. But as soon as Jennings started to sort of taper off a little bit, especially through the mid-rounds, Oscar Rivas started to have more and more success in that fight. Although I thought it was a relatively close fight, and ultimately it didn't really matter because Jennings was knocked out late in that fight. And that was interesting for the fact that prior to that fight, Oscar Rivas hadn't really sort of carried his power late in fights. He'd had a record of, a lot of knockouts early in fights, but after about the 6th round, if he was taken any deeper than that, he really hadn't had any knockouts. But, that fight, he proved he can carry his power late, and he had Jennings in a world of trouble and got him out of there. Very good win. Tyson Fury is a different kettle of fish to Bryant Jennings, and Oscar Rivas, I think, especially for the first, number of rounds, would have trouble catching up with Tyson Fury. And I could see Tyson Fury really sort of racing away to quite an easy and deliberate points win there if he decided to box, in the manner that he can. If he decided to trade with Rivas, then it might get a bit more dicey. And at points in the fight, he probably would. But with his height and reach, he is going to really go in there with some big advantages to use against Oscar Rivas, especially if he uses those advantages. That is if Rivas is the name. Because this is the thing at the moment. There's a lot of talk about Rivas, and not many other names are being mentioned. But we'll have to see what happens. in regards to another potential opponent that's been talked about by fans and the media, Joseph Parker. If you didn't catch the interview that I did with David Higgins, which is on the channel, he said that the co-promotional deal with Top Rank, that is coming to an end. So Parker is currently renegotiating his contract with Duco, for a new deal, all that sort of stuff. I believe his contract ends at the end of March, and with that ends the Top Rank co-promotional arrangement. Higgins said it's almost run out, it's underutilized, we didn't utilize it in the way that maybe we could have. Those arrangements were in place since the back end of 2016, never utilized. So it looks like if Joseph Parker was to fight a Tyson Fury, that would have to be on some new type of co-promotional deal if they were to set one up. So who knows what will happen, because there was the indication, well, this guy's already in the tent, so it's easier to make. But in a couple of weeks, it looks like Joseph Parker's deal with Top Rank ends, so he'll be out of the tent and they'd have to renegotiate something new, if in fact that is to happen. There is some pros and cons with being a bit of a free agent in the market right now. Joseph Parker is sort of, in the top 10, but towards the back end at the moment. A lot of people is talking about Joseph Parker as an opponent for some of the top guys, instead of being a guy in his own right who is legitimately contending for a title right now. He's in a rebuild after losing 2 fights in 2018. Who knows if he can get back to the mountaintop, but if he was thrown in with Tyson Fury, I would suggest that that's the sort of matchup that would be in very badly for Joseph Parker, because we saw what Hughie Fury was able to do in the ring with Joseph Parker, even though that ended up being a lopsided points decision to Parker. Depending on how you scored that fight, there were a number of people who thought Hughie Fury won that fight. I myself had that, very close. I didn't see, only just the 2 rounds for Fury, but it depends what you like. But Tyson Fury is a much better version than his cousin Hughie Fury, and would be able to basically jab Joseph Parker's head off. Would he be able to close the distance? His reach is about 78 inches or so. Tyson Fury, 85-inch reach. That sort of stuff with his movement and the way that he boxes, Joseph Parker might have a long night, as he did to some extent against Hughie Fury. So those are the couple of names that have been really thrown out there, and it's one of those things that Tyson Fury just can't fight anyone. It's got to be someone halfway decent, because, no one wants to see Tyson Fury signing this big new deal, which has basically scuppered a rematch with Deontay Wilder, has sort of scuppered any potential chance for the minute of a fight with Anthony Joshua. If he's not fighting those guys, then we want to see him in with someone halfway decent. And that means someone in the top 10 or the top 20 at least. So it's got to be someone that's, 1, available, and 2, decent, because if you just throw him in there with overmatched opponents, someone in the top 30 or the top 40, really, who cares? It's kind of like, for example, Manuel Cha. Even though he's got this version of a heavyweight title, I don't want to see Fury in with Cha, because for me that's a mismatch, and that is one of the names that has been mentioned. But I guess that could be potentially appealing for Fury, because Cha has got some hardware, and ultimately I think Cha wants to be in one of these big fights with some of these top guys. He rates his chances, but ultimately, really, he is very overmatched here, and he would get beaten by anyone in the top 10, I would hazard. So, we'll have to see what happens with Tyson Fury, but yeah, there's a number of names, but how viable are they? Rivas, maybe he is at the top of the tree, but he's not a top-ranked fighter, but they may have some rights for his next fight. I have actually asked Top Rank to clarify that situation, because he's definitely not on their books officially as a Top Rank promoted fighter. Anyway, what do you make of it all? Tyson Fury reportedly set to come back in June. Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.